Thank you for a nice introduction. Good morning. My name is Sergey Sorokin. I'm Director of Business Development at Zabbix. And before I go with my presentation, which is called Flavors of Zabbix Support, actually I would like to start with when I was writing a presentation, some person came to me and asked, why do I write the presentation? Wouldn't it be better if I would just stay on the stage and would answer any questions from the room for 30, 40 minutes? I think I have no problem to do that. I think that there's just going to be not that many questions, and I have to invent those instead of you, or I have to summarize those questions. And then just go, and you can relax, you can stay in your places, and I will be answering your questions or talking about something that you may be interested or you should be interested. And I would like to start my presentation with talking about Zabbix business model. And some of you, or many of you, may ask, okay, why do we need to know it? Why it's important to us? And then actually I can tell you that there are many reasons, and one of the reasons that this is probably one of the most frequently asked questions to us, besides questions about do you support monitoring of Kubernetes in OpenShift and so on, right? And second reason, I believe that knowing a business model of any company with whom you work is very important. You need to understand what is in their DNA, what they see their business, how they approach their customers. For Zabbix is very important because for most of the people, these questions of what is your business model, where do you get money, comes first in their mind, because we say we are open source company, there is no license fee, there is nothing that we generate on selling our software. And then just kind of a very natural question comes, okay, who are giving you money? Who is sponsoring your events? Who is paying your salaries? Because as we are grown up, we understand that somebody needs to cover those expenses. And the third reason why I would like to share a business model of Zabbix with you is because we're proud of that. Some companies would be trying to hide it, or they would be kind of talking in the very blurred fashion, like, yeah, we do that, we do that. In Zabbix, it's quite easy to understand, and it's very easy to follow, and it will not take me a lot of time to explain. So Zabbix business model consists of just 3 easy steps. One is create best-in-class monitoring solution. And this is what we do for the last 25 years. If we count from the moment when the project started with Alexei creating first line of Zabbix code, so it's over 25 years that we are creating Zabbix software. With every version, with every release of Zabbix, there are new features, there are improvements, there are performance improvements. So we constantly strive to make Zabbix better. Right? And that's actually part of our business model. What we want to achieve is that at some moment, everybody in the world, okay, we're talking about IT people maybe, right? Not everybody. But when they think about monitoring, they think about Zabbix right away. So that the Zabbix become de facto standard for monitoring. Right? And we are ready in our understanding, in our business model, to spend the rest of our lives in doing that. Maybe because we don't have a good imagination and we cannot come up with anything else. Maybe because we're boring guys, but we like this idea. You do something good, you continue to do something good, you're becoming better in this, and so on. The second step in our business model is make it widely acceptable and available. There are 2 important words, acceptable and available. By acceptable, we mean that Zabbix needs to be feature-rich, so that every customer who is expecting something from Zabbix, that he will be able to get it. Right now, maybe next year or in 2 years, but that Zabbix would be able to cover his needs, and that this is where we work to introduce new features, to cover new areas, to introduce new protocols, new objects in Zabbix, so we can really make it acceptable by everybody. And we're talking available, we're talking about Zabbix open source license. So if we create a great software, if we want everybody in the world to use it, it's very simple. Just allow people to use it. This is what we do. We're saying, okay, if you want to test it, if you want to use it, use it. There are no limitations, so when we talk about availability, it's not like it's available for you 5 days to try free, and then you need to decide. All of you, or most of you know, you can take Zabbix, use it all your life. You will not meet a single limitation introduced by Zabbix itself on purpose. There could be technical limitations, there could be performance limitations, and this is where we get to step number 1, create better software all the time, right? But as a second step, we make it widely available and acceptable. And the third step is actually, this is where the money comes in. Because first 2 steps, we need to invest, we need to spend money on hiring the best developers, hiring the best document writers, QA engineers, and many other people that support development of Zabbix. But then we go to selling our professional services. Again, it's very interesting and important that there are 2 important factors: professional services. So we talk about services that make life of our customers easier, that make it more efficient, where SLA exists, where we strive to achieve the certain level of quality and speed that is expected by the customer, and that the customer can rely on the services that we provide. And by interested customers, we're talking about the approach where we don't trace the users of Zabbix, as you all know. We don't knock on the office doors and saying, we notice you're using Zabbix. How about purchasing on our services? This is not what we do, right? But we rather expect the customers to come to us and say, or users, you know what, we're using Zabbix, and we are looking for your professional services. And we have Zabbix partners all around the world that are available to customers. Zabbix also works directly, but we make the services available to our customers. And as the next step in this model, it just loops back, right? We generate money on selling services. We reinvest that money in actually producing better software, make it widely available and acceptable, and again, selling services to more and more customers around the world. And when we're talking about Zabbix services, I think maybe for a few of you, this image would be kind of a new thing, but repeating is always good. So Zabbix is developing its services around its customers, or our vision or understanding of the customer, and the customer journey through usage of Zabbix. But because we are open source, it doesn't mean that every customer will follow the same path. So there are some customers who will join Zabbix at the very first initial stage, and they will say, can you provide a consulting to us? We need to understand whether your solution is a good fit to us or not. We need to understand how to build a better architecture. Customer may also approach us saying, I need Zabbix or Zabbix partners, right? We actually, when we talk about Zabbix, we equally talk about Zabbix partners. We want you to build our infrastructure, all by your, let's say, resources. We provide template building, integration services, we provide upgrade services, we provide professional training, and we provide technical support. Actually, technical support is service number 1 in terms of the Zabbix revenue and in terms of the efficiency that it allows us to work with our customers. It allows us to well plan our resources. It allows us to interact with the customers in much better fashion, understanding their needs, understanding their requirements, and actually following their needs in the upcoming versions of Zabbix. So providing of technical support is a crucial part of Zabbix. And for many of you, you may be familiar with this table of different support subscriptions that are available from Zabbix. Some of them start with a very simple one, very easy to understand, aimed at the companies that may be only starting to use Zabbix or that have very simple installations, and they stretch up to the right with the professional services that are actually aimed at the bigger companies, big installations that cover most of the need of the customer within a certain period, let's say a year, where the training will be included, consulting will be included, everything that customer may expect to receive during the year, that can be included into the contract. At the same moment, of course, there are certain limitations exist in the subscription contracts. And one of these limitations that probably I need to mention is legal entities covered. When we're talking about legal entities in Zabbix, by legal entity, we understand a single company. So if there is a subsidiary, any other affiliate of that company, it's not considered to be one legal entity. So if you're using it in a head office and you have three subsidiaries, whether within the country or in different countries, that would be counted as 4 legal entities in terms of Zabbix. And that's completely fine, because if you would look, some of our support subscriptions, like Global 1, Global 2, they're aimed at that kind of customers who has more than one legal entity which he is willing to cover with a contract. However, there is a certain type of businesses where their business contradicts with this model, right? And we are talking about MSPs. MSPs is kind of a different type of the business. The way or what we understand under MSP in our terms, in Zabbix terms, it's a company that is providing monitoring services to other companies, right? They're providing it as a managed service. And in this case, again, in our definition, MSP cannot be considered as a single entity, because the fruits, the benefits, the outcome of the monitoring is shared with other companies. And basically, monitoring is done for other organizations, which in this case are covered by the support. So, and this is why the standard subscription, the subscription that I was talking before, from Silver, Gold, Platinum, Enterprise, and further, is not a good fit, right? MSPs, they have different requirements. They may have 5 customers, they may have 50,000 customers. They may need to install a single proxy per every customer. They may need to install a single server per every customer. So they're not comparable with the regular customers, right, as we know it. So what we did, we have introduced a separate MSP subscription program, right, which is aimed exactly at MSPs, and where the positions and limitations and what is included is aligned with MSP business. So for the MSPs, there is no limitation number of servers or proxies that they're using. There is no limitation of the legal entities, or basically the amount of customers that they're serving. In certain levels, there is no limitation as in Zabbix standard packages on the number of tickets that an MSP can open, right? But the limitation is a number of hosts. Because one MSP cannot really be compared to another MSP just by their name or by their location, but there are MSPs who are serving just 60, 100, 300 nodes or hosts, right? And there are MSPs that are monitoring 1 million and above hosts, right? So we need really to differentiate between these sizes. So MSPs, as I said, some of them start simple with, let's say, under 1 hosts included into the subscription package with a certain amount of tickets. And then on the high end, we grow, and the high end, we're talking about unlimited global. By unlimited global, we mean that it's one support, MSP support subscription purchased for any amount of customers in all the countries around the world, right? This is how MSP work. There are MSPs that are very local. There are MSPs that are acting globally, right? And for some packages, there are more services included, like training is included, let's say remote troubleshooting, and so on. So, maybe I should go to MSP questions. And this is what we hear all the time, right? How MSP subscription different from standard? I mean, what is under the hood? There is no difference. So for the MSPs and our standard customers, there is going to be the same team, there is going to be the same system where MSPs and standard users will ask their question, they will get support, they will be provided according to the SLAs. Yes, SLAs for MSPs and for regular customers, they may differ at different levels, but under the hood, this is the same technical support. It's just aimed at different kind of customers, right, that are using them. Another very popular question, which subscription should I buy? It seems like that green one is better than that yellow one. There is actually no choice for the customer to go with a standard or MSP. If you are MSP, you go for MSP options. If you're a regular end customer, you go for end customer options, right? It's being regulated by the terms and conditions, by the agreement. So it's not a free choice of the customer that I prefer to use this or that. It's rather that you need to identify who you are and tell us, this is what I do, and this is what I expect from Zabbix. And we will actually create an offer according to your business, to what you do and how you use Zabbix. Is MSP a partner of Zabbix? In a sense of the relationship, friendship, and so on, yes, as anybody in this room, right? But if we're talking about this partner status in the way that we call our partners premium, certified, and reseller, MSP is not a partner. MSP is a customer. It's just different kind of a customer, right? So please do not confuse. Partners are partners. They work together with Zabbix. There is a great synergy. They provide services. They extend the knowledge and expand the knowledge about Zabbix. MSPs are customers that are using Zabbix support subscriptions for their needs, to run their business, to support their business. One of the important questions that comes is like, Zabbix MSP services, they come with, let's say, thresholds, 1,000 hosts, 2,000 hosts, and what if I go over the limit? What if in a specific month I will have 1,005 hosts under the monitoring? So the rules there are pretty easy. You or the customer or MSP, they have two options. Either they upgrade to the next level if they want so, or they can just pay a small extra for working over the limit. And it's up to them, up to their comfort, which way they prefer. And that system is very flexible. So there is no need to care that much about how many hosts do I monitor right now. It will not become extremely expensive if you forget to put the limit on the number of hosts that you as MSP is monitoring. Why should I purchase MSP subscription? The same question goes to any kind of subscription that Zabbix is selling, but I think for MSPs, it's maybe even more critical. Because when you're responsible for your own installation, you're using a standard Zabbix subscription, if you fail, it's your failure, right? If you fail to ensure that system is running, it's only your team or your company that will feel it. If you're MSP, you actually will hit everybody behind you, right? So if your system stops working, if you stop providing the service, that would be visible by all the customers that are using your services. Therefore, I think for MSPs, it's much more critical to have MSP subscription. And yeah, a simple question. I already see hands asking, where can I buy MSP subscriptions? So it's easy. It's, as always, it's our partners and it's us, right? And again, there is no limitation on, let's say, who is selling you MSP, why, let's say, to go to one partner to another. It's a normal support package which you can inquire about to our partners, to us. We'll tell you the details, we'll provide you all the information, and we'll be happy to assist you. That's it. That's everything that I have to say for today. Thank you for your attention. And I invite you, if you have any interest, if you have any customers, if you are MSP, please contact our sales team, please contact our partners. We'll be happy to tell you more about this service. Thank you a lot.